Coming up tonight on Game All Night, Chaz Marler returns. This Week and Each Week is brought to you by Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience and check out the late pledge for their Kickstarter at GameToppersLLC.com.
Welcome to Game All Night.
Well, hello and welcome to yet another Game All Night. Tonight, I am going to be joined by Mr. Chaz Marler, who will be joining us momentarily. We're gonna hide him in the green room because I need to talk to Dan about some beer you poured. Dan, what do we got?
Tasty beers. Tasty beers. Let me start with mine. I have Dogfish Head Sequench Ale, which is, by the way, an entirely green can and not going to show up here.
Poor planning.
Pretty much at all. You'd think I would start to catch on that this is an issue for us, but this is one I would call this a Gosa. They do not. They use the term Sessions Sour here, though it's got the lime tartness, the sea salt, everything that I expect with a Gosa. Comes in under 5% ABV. It's a lovely, could drink them all day kind of summer beer, and
right.
One of my
you
favorites.
liking your sours? That's fine.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
fine.
Well, that's why I did not pour this one for you.
Thank you.
So you have Southern Tier New Juice IPA, which is, we're in the era now of folks making New England IPAs, but struggling to find a way to identify them so you know what you're getting, but they're not branding them as New England IPAs. So,
which is weird
IPA
because Southern Tier's in the middle of New York. It's not like it's off-brand for them at all. But it's also not cloudy like your typical New England.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to set false expectations there.
Yeah, because really it's just a filtered IPA, but it doesn't have that cloudiness that we're getting out of the New England style. So
it's a fair point.
That'd be my thought.
Yeah. Southern Tier has I think struggled to put out anything as good as their Unearthly double IPA that they had a few years ago. Since then, but I really enjoy this one. How do you?
I really like it. You know what? My favorite, while we're on the favorite Southern Tier beers, this one's gonna shock and blow you away. The Creme Brulee Stout.
I am surprised that does not seem in character at all for you.
Super sweet. It's about the sweetest stout I've ever had, but it is such a great after dinner sipper. Oh,
I can dig it. Dessert beer has a place.
It does. But we have a guest, and it's not a brewer, although put a bookmark in that. Maybe that should be someday. But we do have Mr. Chaz Marler. Welcome to the show, sir. How are we doing today?
Hey, did somebody mention setting false expectations?
False expectations. Expectations that may be untrue, maybe.
That's what I'm here for. So it's nice. It's nice to be back.
I know. It's pretty awesome that you actually were able to come back on. You're actually the first repeat, full-on guest standard that we've had on the show. Don't you feel special?
Good luck to you. But no, this is amazing. It's quite an honor and a prestige to be able to be back here with you.
It's awesome. Chaz was our fourth guest on the show. He was in that first crop of people I reached out to. Somebody said yes, right away without even seeing the show, and that was you. And it was a blast. It was also one of the first times you and I really actually got to talk.
Yes, it was. And it was a really good chat. That was one of the things that I enjoyed so much about it and why I got excited when you said, hey, do you want to do it again? It's just because it was such a fun conversation to have. So I'm looking forward to what you have in store for me this time.
And Chaz has since returned the favor. I was on his show twice. Well, no, once, recorded twice.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it wasn't your fault, as I recall. I believe it was all on this end. But that was a lot of fun. We did the Who's Playing What Now?
Yeah, and I thought you were such a trooper because I believe you were traveling at the time in Texas, and to record it, you were in a hotel room and you turned off your air conditioning for like an hour while we recorded, so the fan wouldn't be blowing, and you must have just been sweltering in there by the end.
Man, let me tell you, it's like every time I hear about these podcasters and videocasters who do that, I'm like, I don't get it, because where I live, A, I record in a basement. And B, like, I just have regular CFL lights, so they're not like hot, and my air conditioner is running, but nobody hears it because it doesn't get in the way. So when I had to actually do it, I'm like, I had a whole new appreciation for all those people who do that, and props to you, and I appreciate everybody who does that, because that was a warm night. That was like 95 degrees that night. Oof.
I bet. So yeah, I'm glad to see that you're rehydrated and you're ready to go again.
Yes, I came back. I put on a few pounds, and we're good. I'm like, if I ever get that heat again, I will be well taken care
of. Nice.
So, are you drinking anything with us this evening, sir?
Oh, I actually have cracked a can here of not a sponsor or anything of Paradise or Game All Night or anything, but I have a polar orange vanilla water here. These polar waters are what I've been consuming a lot lately, and this orange vanilla one is, oh my gosh, it tastes like you're drinking a creamsicle. It really does, and it is only surpassed in actual flavor, because most of these flavored waters, they taste like you're drinking a can of water that has like a pencil stuck in it. Yeah. And then there's like a whisper of a fruit that someone peels in another room, and that's the hint of flavor you get. But this one has a lot more flavor to it, and it's only surpassed by the blueberry lemonade, which I discovered just the other day. Oh yeah, this one actually, again, has flavor to it. So those are what I've been guzzling almost nonstop since I don't know, Thursday. So.
One of
setting false expectations. There we go.
There you go.
Right off the bat.
One of the saddest things is my wife does not like creamsicle. She does not like that flavor combo. I'm like,
I can't even imagine the hell that she must live in.
Well, the fact that, it's one of my favorite things. Like, we have, I don't think you have it out where you are. We have what's called Rita's Water Ice out here. And they do a thing where they do water ice and then they mix it with custard. And one of my favorites is either to get like the orange ice with the vanilla custard, or I usually get mango because it fits better. But it gives you that same thing. It's so good.
Interesting.
So good. Huh. So when you come, are you coming out for PAX?
I'm undecided on PAX at the moment. I'm trying to finagle it to see if I can make it work and budget wise.
Well, I know that Board Game Geek's going to be there this year, so you'll definitely have a place to work.
Hooray! Oh, can't get enough of going to a convention to work. Free time is for the schleps.
Nice. Undecided for PAX. Well, if you come, it would be great. Be lovely to have you. So, if you do, a water ice and a cheesesteak, I'll help you out with a meal. How's that?
Here, have some ice.
It's not like that. It's not like that.
No, that would be great. I got to attend the very first PAX Unplugged, and I have been dying to figure out how to get back again. This is going to be like the third one now, or is this the fourth one already?
This is the third, and last year it was pretty much the same size as Origins. Like it almost doubled the size. Like I'm not going to say you wouldn't recognize it, because it's still the same, right? The vendor hall's a little bigger. They expanded the gaming area a bit, and then they moved some of the stuff out so that it's a bigger room and stuff like that. So. Oh,
nice. Yeah. I'd like to get back there again.
Yeah, and I think it's actually the first weekend in December, so it's you have a little more time cushion now. It's not like, hey, Thanksgiving, go. I think there's actually. Yeah. But I talked to Aldi, and he said that they were coming, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't take that as gospel, but I'm pretty sure they're going to do both this year.
That would be cool. Essen is the next one coming up for me. And then there is BGG Con in November. So I'm already like, I can barely think past 4 weeks from now with everything going on. So I don't even know what my plans are for that late in the year, which is actually kind of a scary way to live now that I think about it. And it also
fly by the seat of your pants. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's a hoot.
So this is your first trip to Essen, right?
Yes.
And is it your first trip overseas, period, or into Europe?
No, I did get to take a trip. I did get to take a European trip in high school once. I was able to do that. My sister was stationed in the army. She was stationed in Hanau in Germany, or Frankfurt, one of the two. And so my senior year, while she was over there, my mother and I went and visited her, and we did like the tour bus to Paris and back. So I got to see a few things over there through a bus window. So I'm really, really interested this time to maybe get on the other side of the glass and actually see stuff in person. I
know I was really trying to make it work, for maybe this year or next year, but things have gone down that will say that I will not be speaking German in the very near future, unfortunately. But I'm really curious. I don't have this drive to go to get all the hotness to shove in a suitcase or to ship it back. Like, I don't feel that anymore. I feel like I might have some self-control. I think there's a little bit might exist, but I really want to experience the spectacle at least once.
Yeah. If you ever do travel to Germany, I've been taught there's only one phrase that you need to learn, which will get you open every door and get you through every conversation. All you have to say is, sprechen Sie langsam bitte, yo soy americano estúpido. And that is, speak slowly, please. I'm a stupid American. And to punctuate the point, stupid American is in Spanish. So
yeah, yo soy stupid American.
That'll get you. They'll go, okay, I see what I'm dealing with here.
Yeah.
Boom, all the pressure's off.
Wonderful. The what's funny is the thing. I went to France mid-90s for school, and everybody's like, oh, they're rude, they're not welcoming, they're not friendly. I encountered zero of that. All I got, it was a different political climate, don't get me wrong, but it was everybody was helpful. If I went into a restaurant, they generally had like an English version of the menu.
Oh, nice.
It was, and maybe we couldn't get the exact words across because I didn't really know French very well. Believe it or not, I took 3 years of German, and Ich bin ein Berliner is about it, right? But it was very opening and welcoming, and if they could try and help you out, they would. If you made an attempt, I think that's the important part, right?
Yeah. Well, as Americans, we're actually kind of behind the curve. I think I was reading just yesterday that 80% of Europeans speak a second language, and the majority of that, covers English in some respect. So, they're going out of their way to speak our language, where we go over there and we just point at things, that I want 3 of that in my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine if somebody has dietary needs too and not being able to speak the language. That must be like borderline nightmare.
Oh, actually, yeah, that could be actually dangerous.
Like no gluten, no peanut. You learn how to say peanut in every single language possible.
Yes, yeah, you learn real fast.
you just have like a page that just has like how to say peanut in 58 languages. Just to make sure, because that would not be good. That would not be good. So what are you looking forward to most out of Essen? Like what's the I'd like to do this first. Don't tell me it's a Don or kebab,
No. Get back home safely.
Okay.
That's when I make my plans. When I think about this trip.
If you got trapped in Germany, it might be better than the alternative, but that's okay.
Yes. But it's like, okay, I got some euros already. I went to the bank. I got some euros. I got my suitcase. I figured out how I'm going to pack. I got this. I know what I'm going to do. I know where I'm going to go. I got my hotel reservations. But when I think about my trip, I find myself sitting there daydreaming. I am back in my own bed going, oh, it's all behind me. So, there's that aspect of the trip to look forward to.
Now, are you going there with BGG, or are you going there like kind of on your own?
No, I'm going there as part of the BGG team. I'll be, helping running the booth each day, doing interviews and setting up the booth, breaking it down, running the store, the whole thing in the booth. And actually, that is one of the things I am genuinely looking forward to at Essen. Is, it's such a different culture at that trade show. They say it shuts down at night, and everyone kind of leaves and goes and gathers in the hotel lobbies to play some games. So it's not. It's huge. It's big. It's bigger than Gen Con. But in some ways, I'm interested to see if it's actually maybe not as much of a circus as Gen Con is.
Okay.
I know it's going to be more crowded and a lot more people, but I'm wondering if the whole cultural atmosphere is going to be a little bit different.
I get the impression that there's a little more day tripping involved with Essen. Like, it's not so much that's kind of a product of Gen Con, like having all the housing and everything. Everybody descends, stays, has nothing to do at night. So it kind of propagates the gaming and keeping things going till all hours of the evening, right? And Origins to a similar degree. But Essen, I get the distinct impression there's a lot more day tripping happening. And Philly was kind of like that with PAX U as well, because you can hop on a train, you can be back in New York, you can be back in DC that night, and it's not a big deal. It's only about an hour ride. So we get a lot more day tripping kind of clientele at that one versus, say, Gen Con, where people kind of come in and stay and kind of
absolutely
hang out.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I'm sure that it will make an impression on me. I am looking forward a little bit to being pushed out of my comfort zone, but not too far.
Now, we talked about that extensively on our last show, and if you haven't seen it, we'll try not to rehash it, but it's definitely, if you want to hear the Weird Al story, you got to go back there. If you that was classic. But you also kind of grew out of the meeples for sheepish peoples, and you kind of struggle with the social anxiety and things like that. But I also see, like, every time I run into you now, it's, well, if I can't find Chaz, just go to the BGG booth. He's going to be there pretty much.
That's true. And it is nice actually at these conventions to kind of have a home base, somewhere that you can go like that. And someplace too where, honestly, one of the nice things about working in a booth like that, especially a media booth, is that all of the publishers and people, they come to you. So you're not running around interrupting them, kind of getting in their way, waiting for them to get done talking to someone else. And there's a line forming and you got like 20 seconds to, you actually, it's a little more comforting to be able to welcome them in. Oh, hey, you're on my home turf now, and I can make you feel welcome without worrying that I'm interrupting what you're doing. And it actually does help quite a bit sometimes.
Interesting. I found that, like, this year at the BGG booth at Origins, I kind of got invited behind the velvet rope, and that was kind of exciting, because you're like, wow.
I know, right? You got to see the behind the booth.
I know. No, it's almost like the same as the front of the booth, but with more stuff.
Yeah, more boxes of things. Whoa, corrugated cardboard. Whoa.
Who'd have thunk?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Did you get to? Did you like come in and get to chat with everybody in the booth, or was it just kind of you were there and they said, "Oh, come get out of the crowd for a minute if you want to relax." So what was your experience?
It was a little bit of both. I was over there. I was hanging out because I was talking to Lincoln and Aldi actually about some stuff. So it was kind of let's go over here and kind of get out of the thrall for a second. So.
Nice.
Went over there, and then we got to check out you and you're roping Marty into helping you out a lot more these days too. I noticed.
Yeah, he's a real sucker for it. He hasn't caught on yet that I have him do half my work. But
you'll be my intern. It's like when the intern has an intern. That's great.
Yeah, So I haven't caught on to that yet. But yeah, Marty and I have been fortunate enough that for the live stream that Board Game Geek does at Origins and Gen Con, they gave Marty and I like this half-hour slot for us to kind of introduce each morning and come up with something just ridiculous, a game to play or someone to talk to, an interview, or just weird banter to do. So we've been experimenting with that this year and been having a lot of fun with it. And I think we're getting some plans already for what we're going to do next Origins. So hopefully that'll come together.
That sounds pretty awesome. Are we going to try and gag any board game celebrities again with dried products and twigs, or are we going to?
Now, to be fair, the only person that ended up getting gagged by all of those seeds and twigs was me. I made the unfortunate mistake to actually think that when they said, "Oh yeah, these things taste like Fruity Pebbles or licorice." Oh really? So if I take a handful, I'll get a really nice snack. It's like, no, they're still just they're still herbs and spices that you're supposed to have in small quantities. So I learned that the hard way.
But it was very interesting. For those of you who don't know what Chaz and I were talking about, there was one of the mornings I had run into Rob Davio around lunchtime, and he told me that he was anxiously waiting to kind of go over and do this thing. And Rob and I have talked food on many occasions because he's quite the foodie as well.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fun, and I'm sure you'll kick butt. So I see him the next day, and he tells me that, oh, and it was all dried herbs. So for those of you playing at home, you can obviously tell that there's a difference between like dried and fresh, and it's definitely a distinct difference for a very important reason. But the best part, and even Rob said it was the best part, was when you just took the whole cup of coriander seeds and just popped them in your mouth all at one time.
Yeah, that was a mistake. But you learn, you live, and you learn, and now I know what not to do with coriander. So
Yeah.
But he did claim that it tasted like a pre-sweetened cereal, which it did. But the witness was led. I was led to that. I was tricked.
This is one of those instances where like more is not better. It's like one's enough. One's enough.
Exactly. Yes.
It's not like pour some milk and have a bunch of coriander seeds. I don't see that happening. That's not going to.
No, it's not going to catch on. No. Which, that whole business plan of mine down the tubes completely. Just that ruined that idea.
That's a shame because I could see the wheels turning. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm onto something here. Like I could do like
this is great.
A breakfast in a small little cup like this. This is going to be great.
Yeah. No.
But he ended up doing really well, right? I think he got like most of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he got like 8 out of 10 at least. And the ones that he didn't get, I believe that they were like, unbeknownst to us, it was a medley of several different spices together.
Like the earthy Provence and.
Yeah, and he picked out at least a few of what were in those. But he's like, man, that's a little strange. And after we revealed it, he's like, oh, well, that's a blend of rosemary, thyme, and sage or whatever. I'm like, oh, we didn't know that.
If only you knew somebody who is a chef who could have maybe helped you prepare a little bit for that,
preparation is overrated.
It's for the H in the crowd, right? Not for us.
Exactly. And besides, Marty was the one that was in charge of preparing that segment, so I'll just throw him under the bus and say, yeah, Marty totally should have contacted you and gone over that, but he didn't because he's just mean. So
yeah, well, I mean that's the PA's job, man. He's got to fall on the sword when he has to do that, right?
There you go. Yeah.
It wasn't on the shopping list.
Fine, something we agree on.
All right. Well, you know what? I think this seems like a great place to pause. So we're gonna actually introduce something grown-worthy with Mr. Patrick Hillier, and we're gonna be right back after this.
Pontifications with Patrick Hillier.
Light travels faster than sound. That's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak.
Day after day, millions of yellow meeples sit unused and unwanted in their box. These defenseless pieces haven't been given the chance of other popular colors like blue or red, so here they sit, unplayed, day after day, week after week, year after year. Throughout time, yellow has been labeled with terms like lemon or pea, hurting the delicate sensibilities of these meeples who didn't choose to be yellow, but were made that way. Who will be the voice for the unplayed colors? Will you? For a small donation of just $10 a month, we at GAN Charities will ensure that yellow sees just as much attention, love, and joy as the populars. We will endeavor to make sure that every pawn, meeple, and piece have a chance to win or lose as equals with the other colors. Don't let our pawn prejudice go any longer. Be the voice for the less played, less wanted, and less loved colors in all games.
And we're back. So,
Hello.
Chaz, you're still here, you know?
Yes.
I'm-
I accidentally
you
tied
had
my
your
shoelaces
chance,
together.
just saying.
I know. Sorry. Would you like me? I can go get my daughter or something and play. You'll have a better show.
Well, you know, there is that, but, you know, it might be late. I don't want to, you know.
That's true. See that's my winning strategy. I'm guest appearances by default. So you can't beat that.
When you make it around back to the C's in the alphabet, you know, it's just...
Well, you were next on the rotation, so we said
yeah.
screw it. So.
You can only
We
get
already
put
had the
back
lower
in the
third
hat.
made.
You can only get put back in the hat so many times. Just saying, you know. Not again. Come on, put it back.
How did you know my wedding vows? Anyway, please continue.
Actually, I want to know. I think that would be good, and maybe you know what? I think my wife and I are we close in on the good old. I think it's going to be 20 years coming up in 2023 here. We're going to redo our vows, but I want to redo them as a Mad Lib. I think that would be. I think that's going to be the trick, right?
Yes, please.
Right? We got married in Vegas, so I mean, it's kind of like we're not really sure it's legal anyway at this point. So it's just kind of it could be. I don't know.
The
who
wedding
said it
license
was-
supposed to be
This
on the
is
back
legal,
of the
you know,
placement?
baby. No, Elvis did not marry me, but it was definitely in a casino environment. But but I think that would be hysterical, right? Like, you know, I solemnly blank verb, you know. I think that's going to have to happen.
That would be. I want a video of that if you do that.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, come on, that's classic, right? So what kind of verbs would you throw around? What do you think would be good? Like knowing.
Oh my
You know.
word. Well, let's see. Wedding vow verb. So there would definitely have to be. I would say you would want to get. If I had to pick three verbs out of that, I would say anticipate,
Okay.
perhaps. Let's say trundle. It's a good one.
I solemnly trundle. Okay.
And how about plead? Definitely
Plead.
plead's got to be in there.
Yeah, plead, beg.
Yes. Any of those subservient ones will definitely do the trick.
Well, that's how I got there in the first place, so it's only fair.
There you go. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a tale as old as time. Yes.
It is. You know, one knee was not enough. I did both. I just figured, you know, I'm young. I can probably stand back up. That's what happens when you marry above your class. Life's not easy, you know.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah, I always
it's,
wonder why they called me Pip as a kid. Now I guess it's. Know any convicts named Joe? I guess.
Oh well, not in this state. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I don't think we were talking about anything, Chaz. But the
I think you're right.
I think so. We were just kind of going on, you know. After that, I think we had to lighten the mood after my niece / Sarah McLachlan, you know, kind of little episode there. The
Oh, true story, real quick.
Shoot.
If I may be so bold as to interject. Oh, interject.
please,
There's
please.
a verb for the Mad Libs. I play yellow. That's my go-to color. And the only reason why I play yellow is because no one ever wanted yellow. So I said, okay, here's a color that's going to be easy. It'll cause no conflict. As soon as I started playing yellow, probably about 6 years ago at this point, every single game I play without fail, someone else claims yellow now before I do. So I don't know what happened. I don't know where all these other yellow players came out of the woodwork, taking my yellow, scooping it up. But it's just weird. It's just strange how life makes these cycles.
Yeah, it is. It is. It used to be like blue. I'd have trouble getting blue. Now, do you find yourself to be like color agnostic during games? Like, or do you get like I find it, I struggle with it when it's the same game. Like if I play, I don't know, Stone Age or something, and I'm usually always blue, and then all of a sudden we play with somebody else and I'm not, that messes me up. But if I play different games.
If I play different games on the same day, I will start grabbing for the color of the game I played last.
Okay.
And yep, so yeah, I'll do that. Oh yeah, I'm not yellow with this game. I'm green. That's right. Ah, darn it. Tricky thing I've started doing that not everyone else catches on to is if I am teaching the game and I'm passing out the colors, sometimes I won't give people the choice. And I will give them the color that as closely matches their shirt as possible. So that way I can remember who's who at least. and
that's all that
it
matters.
seems to work. Yes, exactly. See? Yeah. So yeah, that's one little trick I've tried to do, and it works really well. I'd say, I don't know, 2% of the time. So
did you ever go through that period? I kind of feel like there's on the roadmap to becoming a gamer, right? Like, you know, we have this map. I think about 2/3 up the mountain is how to build a Clack shelf unit. Is one of those stops. There's also a stop on there is play different colors so you can train yourself to get used to not always playing a color. Did you go through that phase too?
Yeah, I have dabbled in that. Indeed. I'm lucky though in that the groups I play with, one of the main groups I play with at least every month or two, there's 5 of us and we each have a different color that is consistent that we want, and they're all different. And everyone came into this group with these pre-chosen colors that match them. So as long as the game has those colors, we're good. And we break open the game, we automatically know exactly who's playing what, which does make things a lot easier. And because you don't have to coordinate anyone's fashion choices.
And then you have a pecking order because, you know, okay, I'll take blue. Blue's not available. Purple's not available. Green. And like everybody has a progression, you know. And
that's absolutely right.
Yeah. But it's almost like a parking spot though. You got to get there early to reserve your spot. You know, otherwise you're
true. But sometimes you're pulling in as someone's backing in and you're, oh no, I'm sorry, I don't want to get in your way. No, you take this, but no. And then you have the 5 minutes of trying to decide who's playing what. There's that too. So
yeah. Now, are you that person that will follow somebody to their car to park, or do you just like, I don't care how far I'm walking?
No further questions.
Stalker, I knew it. You're like, vroom, vroom. Back up. I want to get a running start. Nice. We have one of the largest malls in the U.S., and it's not too far from here. And at Christmas time, this place is a zoo. It's an absolute zoo. So the stalking for parking spots it's completely legit. And of course, the mall has like 58 entrances. I literally remember once when I first learned how to drive, I actually had to call my father because I thought the car got stolen. So this is the father of the 70s, 80s, you know, who's like, well, I think it was like 7 o'clock at night. He's like, well, go back inside and call me at 9:30 when the mall closes, and I'll come pick you up and we'll drive around. Sure enough. A smart man, though. We didn't drive around while there were cars in the lot. It's like, no.
Very clever.
Yeah. So, of course, went back into Spaceport, played a few more games. I was good to go. Now, did you have video games? Because I'm kind of at this point where I really want to build I built a cabinet years ago. Now I want to kind of build like one of those like half size, quarter size, like tabletop cabinets, and build like an arcade game because I have most of the parts now. Did you have the arcades out there where you are? Did you like have games you like to play? What was that like when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I remember we had a place in the next town over called Wonderland with a U, and it was one of those like you pay, I don't know, $3 to get in, but then all the games are a nickel.
Ooh.
And oh man, and they had everything there. Oh yeah, I can go through Turbo Outrun, the sit-down version, where I actually sit down with the gear shift and the pedals and the wheel and everything, and it's got the force feedback. I can get through Turbo Outrun, I think now, well, at least I used to, on like 5 nickels. I can get through the entire game. Yep.
Now, was that on the
Spy
school
Hunter.
bus? The special school bus? Did you get the hidden one or?
No, I was never clever enough to do that. However, I did learn that if anyone out there, if by any chance wants to go and become a Turbo Outrun sit-down master, get the sticky tires upgrade first. Wow, can't remember my own birthday date, but man, I can remember the first upgrade you should get in a video game I played in high school. So that's fantastic. But yeah,
then,
get the sticky tires first.
Okay.
And I was going to say, Spy Hunter is one of my all-time favorites. Spy.
You chalk that into the games, which is pretty much most of the games in my house now. That of absolutely loved it, complete crap at playing it. I was horrible.
Oh, yes.
I ran into the back of everything and blew up constantly. Like if I became a boat, it lasted all of 3 seconds.
I remember the very first time I became a boat, and I was like, "What is this? I have never seen this before. What's happening?" Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, it was amazing when that happened. Also, if you ever go to the Peppermill Casino in Reno, where the Gamma Trade Show is, second floor of that hotel, there's a little arcade, and there is my all-time favorite game, Dig Dug, is up there. And if you ever go up there, you gotta let me know if CRM is still on the little scorecard, because usually I can get on there during the course of the Gamma Trade Show. I can get on the high scores, but when I get back there the next year, I've been replaced. So another not very interesting story is in the late 90s, I worked for a video game company. I was one of their web designers. Excuse me. I made web pages for video games. And in their break room, they had a guy that collected pinball games and arcade games, and he would bring some from his collection to fill the break room up, and they were free to play. And so Dig Dug was there like the last 6 months. And then when the company was going to shut down and things were getting real lean and there wasn't much to do anymore, the web department was part of the IT department. So we were like the last people to go. And so we were in this empty building, like, a dozen other people in this 3-story building left. And by the time my last day came around, I had every single high score on the Dig Dug machine. Every single slot was me. I remember I finished it like with a day and a half left. It's like, I did it. There. I can go. I can go now. I can get my severance and leave.
Now, are you? When we're playing Dig Dug, are you more of the try to make the rocks fall on people, or are you more of the pump up the dragons with the bicycle pump kind of guy?
See, no. See, here's a little secret for you. Okay, first of all, the rocks, they'll only get you so far. They're not what you want to do. And if you do pump the dragons, always get them from the side, horizontally, because it's more dangerous, but you get more points. If you go from underneath, you get fewer points on those dragons. But the real way to get points in Dig Dug is to drop 2 rocks, which makes the little fruit appear in the middle of the screen. And those little fruits exponentially increase in points to several thousand points for those little fruits and vegetables. So what you want to do, the strategy to get a high score in Dig Dug, is to drop 2 rocks and get those fruits. That's the way you do it.
School and knowledge, boys and girls. Make those nickels count, or quarters, or $5 bills, or whatever it costs now. But
they've gone up since last time.
I know, right? No, Dig Dug's classic. I mean, I love those old school games. But there were always like some that I really wanted to be good at, but I just, for the life of me, sucked. Okay, like I could do the the Dragon's Lair. I couldn't do Dragon's Lair. I could do Space Ace. And,
really? Well, that's quite commendable.
Yeah.
Is that Don Bluth animation? Is that what
Yes.
those are?
Yes.
I don't know anyone that has. No, that's not true. Actually, there's only one person I know who is able to beat Dragon's Lair, and that's Marty Cannell, actually, from the Rolling Dice Taking Names podcast, because he told me when he was in high school and college, he actually literally took a little paper notepad and watched and studied people and wrote down and memorized all the moves. And that's the only way he was able, I don't know if he beat it, but that was the only way that he was able to get really far into the game.
I actually played with Mark Streed. We actually played like on some of his streams. We actually, when it came out on the Switch, we would actually play, and he could do Dragon's Lair, but I could do Space Ace. And I'm like, oh, it's coming back. It's coming back. And you're like, Kirby! And you're just like, ah. But
Nice.
It's classic. I remember I actually got to play that, and this was kind of where my love for the Laserdisc came in. I had a friend who had a Pioneer Laserdisc player. We used to call this thing the Battleship. It was like legit a monster, and you still had to flip it, right? But he had that hooked up to an Atari ST computer, and he could play Dragon's Lair like it was in the actual arcade. Now you have to realize this was, let's see, when I knew him, I was high school. So you're talking like 87, 88. So it's right around the same time that the actual game was still sitting in arcades, and you could it was very, very weird, but it worked. It worked.
You must have felt like kings, like you had some sort of secret knowledge or something.
I dodged being a super nerd by like this much, it was really close. Oh yeah, sorry, apparently it did happen anyway.
and here I thought this was just somehow a reference to me while you were no dodging over here.
No, I just, Dan is all about the retro games, so he certainly is probably sitting over there chomping at the bit. But we're all of the same age, and we used to put the quarters up on the top to kind of mark your spot. Although I don't know how that really worked, because you didn't necessarily mark your quarters.
No, how are you
just
kidding?
put them up there.
If you are a competitive, hormone-driven teenage boy that wants to play this game next, you will remember which quarter is yours.
Oh yeah, you're like, wait, George was on mine, and it was a 75D. But,
75D. It was 15% counterclockwise. That one was mine. Yep.
So what was one of the games they used to look forward to, or it showed up and it just kind of blew you away? Because obviously Dig Dug's been around for a while, and for me it was Ms. Pac-Man. I was decent at it. I could keep up. Defender, no good. But what one was kind of like the big fun one for you that kind of surprised you?
In the arcade, I actually think Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the 4 new fighters, that was right when I got into college, and that had the DJ and the Native American guy and Cammy and the guy who's like a carbon copy of Bruce Lee. That's the one that introduced them. The animation, the art. It's really what with Street Fighter. It's the art that drew me into it. The style of it, and I really became a Street Fighter nut at that point. And I have kind of followed all of the Street Fighter iterations a little bit since then. I actually bought Street Fighter 4 or 5 when it came out for the computer a couple of years ago, and played it. And it's like, wow, I stink at this, and haven't gone back to it very often. But the Street Fighter series was one that really, really captured my imagination and my interest in the arcade.
Now, that was one of the ones that had like 6 buttons, so you had to like remember combinations and things like that. See, where my brain went as far as Karate Champ. Remember with the 2 8-way sticks?
That wasn't fight point?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember. Yes, I remember Karate Champ. I remember being in Hangar 18, the other arcade we had growing up, and playing something else and hearing point white or ready, fight, and just over and over hearing that game say those things.
Oh, classic. And then, of course, the other one for me, and I remember it vividly, if you go back in time, 7th grade, I was paranoid of skiing. Now I do it every chance I get, but back then I couldn't fathom the thought of getting on a hill and hurling myself down. So I spent the entire day at the bowling alley instead of the ski slope, because that was the alternate youth group trip. And I didn't even bowl. I just played elevator action for hours.
Elevator
hours.
I remember. I remember I avoided elevator action for a longest time, because it's like, whatever. But then I played it once, and it's like, oh my word, where's this? Why have I avoided this game? This is fantastic. And then I spent like the rest of that summer playing elevator action. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, it's good.
That is a good one.
Yeah, those huge bullets. They were ridiculous.
Yes.
Misspent youth. But now you know why I'm like, I really want to build another arcade game, because, it's just fun to have. And the first time I built it, I tried to go nuts, right? I tried to have 2 joysticks, 6-button each. I wanted to have the trackball in the middle. Now I'm thinking I'd rather build 2 small units and have a vertical one, and then a horizontal one, and then a trackball one, and then just kind of be able to goof around that way. I think that's the way to go.
Are you thinking it would be like a MAME emulator?
Yep, exactly. Because you can now actually get MAME to run on Raspberry Pi and things. So you can put on an Arduino, for crying out loud, and shove it in that
Gee
case.
whiz.
I know.
That's really cool. And it's still running all the original ROMs then in that case?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the other thing, you get a little ROM crazy when you start doing that, and all of a sudden you're like, I have 2,800 games on this thing, and you're like, yeah, but for work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that's a problem. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But this has been a lot of fun. I'm super excited to hear what happens in Essen. Hopefully you get to make it to PAX. You're doing. What's really the other big change for you is you used to simply just do Pair of Dice Paradise before, but now you actually are starting to do a lot more with BGG and kind of partnering with them and making a lot more content for them. Is that right?
Yeah, there's 2 shows that I do each month for BGG. Excuse me. When I started working with them, doing some programming and other media and booth work and stuff with them, almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now at this point. I was doing a monthly top 10 hottest games based on the BGG hotness list. I was doing that on my own channel. I've been doing that for about a year or so. And when I started working with them, Aldi came to me and said, it'd be really cool if we had a show like that on the BGG channel. It's like, well, we do have a show that is that. Why don't we move that over there? And so that then plus the Who's Playing What Now. It's like, what? If you want, let's flesh out. They were really open to me pitching another show to them, which was the Who's Playing What Now. So we kind of developed both of those. So it's really great because I get to help out BGG, and I'm actually it's kind of the part of the work I'm doing for them now. I get to develop and produce these shows. So there's those 2 shows that I produce for them on a monthly basis, and I've been trying to find different things to experiment with on my own Pair of Dice Paradise channel to kind of try out new things. And some of the things I've experimented with have really taken off and been really neat. And some of them I've produced, and it's how it goes with the YouTube channel. It's like, well, that one I produced was just for me, I guess, because I didn't really catch anyone's interest, but I liked it, so I'm keeping it.
Exactly. So I know what the premise is because I've been on the show, but the Who's Playing What Now I love the twist, and I love that it's very, you bring on a guest and you get to have a lot of fun with that. So where did that idea kind of come from?
Well, I was tooling around on BGG one day, and I stumbled, I don't even remember how, but I just stumbled on this page I'd never seen before that listed the most played games. It was just probably some tool that Aldi wanted one day, so he built it because that's what he does.
That's what you can
And
do.
so he probably he just built it, and it's still there, available. It's like, oh my goodness. And then when we were talking about developing another show, it's like, oh, that list of the games that the most people are logging plays of, we could totally turn that into a game. And so I kind of just fitzed around with a little bit, and it totally came about just from blindly stumbling onto that page of data that's on the website.
There you go. But the best part is too that I thought I made really good intelligent guesses. I at least scored with all 5 of mine the second time around. The first time there were a couple misses, not gonna lie. But it's tough because you're just trying to guess what are the most played games in that month. And it's not like that data. It's not like the hotness. If it was on the hotness, that's kind of easy because you probably see that every day. But that's a lot of fun. I love that show. I try to watch it whenever I can.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. What I enjoy about it is that, we go through the top 10 most played games, which, they're usually 90% the same. They'll move around, but those change very slowly. But we list those beforehand and take them out of the mix.
Sure.
So when the contestants are trying to come up with, they basically have to try and come up with, from number 11 on. And I think that's really what makes it interesting, because once you get rid of those 10 standards, it opens up a lot more games for people to choose from.
Awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, are you in the middle of kind of your next season's fundraiser right now?
Yeah, that kicked off. What day is it? What month is it? Where am I?
It's the end of September.
That kicked off in the beginning of September.
Okay.
I think somewhere between August 25th and September 5th is Pair of Dice Paradise's anniversary date. It's right in there at some point. I can never remember which day exactly, but so
You
that's
can't
kind of
remember your own birthday, so we understand.
See, there you go. See, it's an all circle. It comes all back. But I try to kick off the fundraisers right around that anniversary date. So yeah, it was early September. So it's chugging along.
Okay, where is that? If people want to go check that out and throw some shekels at you.
You can either go to pairofdiceparadise.com/donate or just podpledge, PODPLEDGE.com/PODP for Pair of Dice Paradise. See, keep it easy.
Sure, I'm sure that's what you had in mind when you set up, a hominific.
PODPDPDD. Yes, yeah, yeah. There's nothing better than trying to.
The DOPDQR, it's like letter jam, but not as fun.
Letter jam, except it prevents people from being able to find your work. That's.
There you go. It's like if you spelled night without a G or an H. It's just.
I know, right? Yeah. How many hours of your life now have you spent explaining to people? No, it's this spelling. Oh, you'll never find it that way. Oh, darn it.
But the nice thing is, if you get it right, it's everywhere.
That's true. That's bonus points for that, I suppose.
Hey, at least I don't have to come with medicine names. That's got to be like the absolute worst. I mean, they literally probably are so mad at Czechoslovakia for half the names being taken, because I swear they just pull letters out of a hat. Here, try that. See if that works. And,
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy stuff.
Jumbo,
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So aside from donating, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, the YouTube channel is youtube.com/pairofdiceparadise, all one word. And again, that's great explaining to people what Pair of Dice Paradise, all one word. I think it's right there in the bottom of your screen too, which is really helpful. And also on Twitter a lot, which is @DiceParadise. And YouTube, Twitter, those are the primary places to get my attention. Also on Facebook at facebook.com/pairofdiceparadise. But Facebook has this really, really interesting feature where if you send me a message, I don't get it because it goes to some spam or junk folder, and Facebook is mean, and so it doesn't help. But Twitter and YouTube are definitely the best places to go.
It's like you can log in 15 days in a row and you get nothing, and then all of a sudden you check in, you have 48 notifications.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, every now and then I'll stumble onto some new folder in my Facebook messages area I've never seen before, and there's 48 messages from last July. So why have these been here? So yeah,
thanks, Mr. Zuckerberg. It's great.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, this has been a blast, sir. I think we should. Are you interested in coming back next week and playing a game? I think we could have some fun with that.
Yes.
Yes?
How's that? Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. You just have to dress exactly the same, so we keep continuity.
Not a problem.
Yeah, but so we'll see you in about a week, and we're gonna play something that Dan's gonna pull out of the ether. So, thanks so much for being on. This has been a blast.
My absolute pleasure. It's always great to talk to you. It's a great excuse just to have a nice conversation. It's great because we got to talk for almost an hour here, and we just let the conversation flow, and it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, and we didn't get interrupted by people trying to buy things at a booth. It was,
Not used to that.
Exactly. So thank you as well, Dan, for providing some lovely beer this evening. As you can see, I absolutely hated it. And thank you at home for watching. We'll see you next time on Game All Night. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Join us next week when we play a game with the guest. If you enjoy our content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Be sure to follow us on all forms of social media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are the best ways possible. Simply find us by searching for Game All Night Show. And of course, check out our website at gameallnightshow.com. This Week and Each Week is made possible through the generous support of donors like these. Be sure to subscribe below and check out our latest videos.
In the octopus.